Okay, we're at the Embassy Suites today. There's a meeting regarding a Kramer shelter. The community is here today, so we're gonna check and see what's up. Okay, we'll see you inside. Okay, we're inside the Embassy Suites, as you can see, and we got people. The community, I guess, is coming, and we're gonna try to see if we can find some seating in there, and hopefully we could speak. But we'll see what's going on. Thank you. People's needed by the people. Okay, it looks like a packed room today. Hopefully we got speakers that are for the shelter, and that they bring a little bit of common sense to the community. It's not about a fear factor or being against each other, but a solution that would make sense.
Hi, welcome everybody. My name is Michael Chu. I'm with the Orange Riverdale Homeowners Alliance. The County of Orange had scheduled some community forums to discuss the proposed homeless shelter at 1000 North Kramer Place. Unfortunately, the county canceled those forums, and they still haven't rescheduled them. So the Orange Riverdale Homeowners Alliance and the Better Solutions for Anaheim have organized this forum for our community. No, really, thank you, because it's the community that counts. So we really appreciate their turnout, and quite frankly, we're kind of shocked that everybody's here and we're excited. So here we are, and here's where we're at right now. So let me start. Okay, I'm going to need somebody to drive this for me. Because my clicker thing isn't working. Okay, let's kind of start with a recap, because I know a lot of people here, it's the first they've heard about the shelter. You know, they don't know where we've been. So here's where we're at right now. Let me give a little bit of a recap. First of all, where is the location of the proposed homeless shelter? Right now, if you look right here, the proposed shelter is a 200-bed shelter at 1000 North. Oh, you've got a room protection alert. Sorry. This can happen. You love this stuff. So here's the location right here. It's just north of 91 Freeway, right off of Kramer LaSalle. One of the things that's interesting to note about the location of the shelter is the county had specified that it was in the middle of an industrial location, not near any residential parks or schools. Well, as you can see, here is the location. It is not in the middle of the industrial area. It is right smack dab next to all of this, which is residential. It's next to Rio Vista School and Park. It's right there where Olive Park, where my kids play Little League. Steve Ambrose Park, the Santa Ana River Trail, where my kids and family, use for their bikes and such. Olive School, Eisenhower Park. So that's not exactly true. And Fletcher School. Thank you very much. If I could get to the next slide. This is a close-up of the actual location where it's at. It's Kramer Place. This is the location right here. It's right across the street from the piano store that Chris Van says, hear from Chris in a little while. And it's right on the 91 freeway. So that's the site right there. And there's a number of businesses on that site too that are not real pleased and very concerned. Next slide, please. Here's another view of it. Okay, so a lot of you are asking, how did we get here? What was the process that brought us here? So back in March of 2015, 1000 Kramer Place was identified as a shelter site, and Supervisor Spitzer embraced that site and really liked it. So following that, in April of 2015, the cities of Anaheim and Fullerton City Councils voted to support that site.
How thoughtful.
In May of 2015, Anaheim and Fullerton City Councils appropriated $1 million to help the county purchase the 1000 Kramer Place. $500,000 from the city of Anaheim and $500,000 from the city of Fullerton. We know that right now the seasonal shelters in Fullerton and the Santa Ana Armories, they're proposing to close those. So this will be the only shelter in the county.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay. The current, so, you know, I mean, they've got great plans, but, you know, I'm sure most of you have been downtown over by the Civic Center in Santa Ana. Have you all seen the homeless situation down there? Well, one of the concerns that we have is that's the doorstep of the county, and they're having a real hard time handling that situation. So, you know, there's so many concerns.
Go up. Hi, Mike.
Well, what just bring Mike up while I fiddle with this?
Okay, while we're sorting out our technical difficulties, it's my pleasure to introduce Councilman Mike Alverez with the City of Orange. Vice President, and then after that we'll have Keith, Sella, and Mike.
Great. It's great to see everybody here. Great to see a great turnout. A couple things I want to alert you to. This isn't the only homeless shelter that's coming near Orange. I'm meeting with Home Aid tomorrow that wants to establish a homeless shelter at Batavia and Cantella. Early signs of it now. A couple things that those of you who live in Orange, there's a couple things you really need to do. One, you need to get on the City of Orange website and review the City Council meeting. It's on there that you can look. It has a video feed of last month's council site.
Lights.
The reason why you need to see that is you need to see what the other four said before they voted on supporting this site. You really need to see that for yourself so that there's no misunderstanding what their position is. When that was put on our agenda, I found out the Thursday before the Tuesday we got to vote on it. And legally, I can only talk to one other council member, which I did, to find out what they were going to do. I told them that, you know, that I own property on Kramer Place, just north of there on the 1100 block. I probably could have voted on it, but I don't support this effort at all, and I hope you guys don't as well. I've been fighting it since I got here.
What's the solution?
You know what? I'm not here to give a solution. I'm here to protect the neighborhood. That's my effort. I think if you guys want to send a message to them, you got to be at Orange City Council next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Because if you're loud and vocal there, they can tell Home Aid as well that if they're coming too, this is what they're going to look for.
So where are they now?
Mike, when you guys voted on this, did you vote on a dollar amount, or was it an agenda item?
No, it was simply, from what I could gather, it was a request from Supervisor Spitzer to our mayor to asking Orange to support it in the form of a resolution. Well, the resolution has absolutely no teeth to it. There's no money behind it. There's really nothing behind it. It's basically, yeah, we support it as a city council. That's really what it is.
Okay.
So there's zero teeth behind it. But it tells the whole public that the city of Orange supports it. And to me, looking in this room, that's not true.
So how much they're spending now on police resources and all the homeless?
We have no plans at this time. And as many of you know, if you call on the homeless along the river trail, you're going to get a response when the police can get there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a response. Now, if the center comes in, it's going to be a lot worse. I can tell you right now that Orange patrols the riverbed from Lincoln all the way down to the golf course just south of the 22 freeway. I've been with them. I've been on my bike with them. So I know what the problem is. It's huge along the river trail.
Getting worse every day.
And it's
yeah,
not
because
just
they don't
there.
have shelters.
As you guys know, it filters out into your neighborhoods.
Irvine.
They're simply not going there to see how nice your lawn is. I mean, they're going through they're checking doors to see if things are locked, that kind of stuff.
Actually, Irvine has shown by having a shelter that they actually have decreased the homeless situation.
You know what? You cannot compare
Utah
Orange or
has
Anaheim
done
to
that.
Irvine. Irvine's a master plan city. You know, we're a 126-year-old city. We're not planned like that. So we can't address problems like Irvine can. That's like comparing an apple to a watermelon. It was placed on the agenda. The mayor controls the agenda. The mayor fully supported it. You can see it on the videotape. But you need to show up next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Is at the very front of the meeting. You can. It's what's called just where the public can talk on things that are on the agenda. And you can voice your opinion. That's where you really need to go because it's at City Hall in Orange on Chapman Avenue, 300 East Chapman. You need to go there and let them know because they don't believe that this room, I bet you they would not believe me when I see them later tonight that this room is full of people. Because they don't really get it.
Full of ignorance.
Show up
That's what I
and
said.
let them know that you don't support it. Now, I know it's on our agenda for a second vote on approving the resolution that goes to the county. In our neighborhood, we had a school that the school district was looking to sell to a developer for apartments. That neighborhood came out in droves, constantly, and they stopped it because they showed up at all the council meetings. Now, they have representatives that monitor us, and I think it's great. It's where government has to be held accountable. And you're the folks that need to hold these guys accountable. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Keith McCullough. Keith has got a bunch of issues he's going to review. If we could get our technical difficulties fixed. If not, we'll just power on.
Very good. Good evening, all. My name is Keith McCullough. I'm with law firm of Alverez Smith. Glad to be here tonight. Any lawyers in the room? Good. Well, I've been practicing public law for 25 years, both for and against public agencies. Do a lot of environmental and real property litigation, acquisition of private property for public purposes. I deal with the California Environmental Quality Act. Sometimes you heard that referred to as CEQA. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight. Matt, I'm going to ask you if you wouldn't run that for me. This is just an agenda of what I'd like to just briefly talk about tonight. I'd like to touch on if the county were following the law, what would we likely see in this instance? I want to touch on what the county's own report is saying. There's a December 2013 report online. You can see it's a very comprehensive report for suggestions and criteria that should be utilized. Third, I'd like to talk about what the county has done and what it has not done. Fourth, one of the things that we ought to be looking for under a CEQA review, under an environmental review, is an examination and consideration of alternatives. We've seen no alternative considerations. Question of whether this is a good expenditure of public funds. And then I'd like to bring up one other regulatory consideration we've heard nothing on so far. So Matt, if you'd advance to the next one. The fundamental principle here is that the county cannot just buy private property for no public purpose. Okay, let's understand that. That the county can't just go out and buy private property unless it has a public use or a public purpose that is specifically identified. Fullerton and Anaheim lent a resolution support to the county to support the purchase of a homeless shelter at 1000 North Kramer Place. The county, on its June 2nd agenda, identified several potential uses, including additional office space, public works space, and the possibility of a homeless shelter. I thought that was quite disingenuous, because the only thing that has been mentioned on North Kramer Place is a homeless shelter. So the first thing that we would expect is, number one, the identification of a project. What's the project? It's a 200-bed homeless shelter. Let's tell the public that. That's what we would expect, the announcement of a project. Secondly, when we talk about any kind of a public project, whether it's the public doing it or it's the authorization of private activities by the public agency, we engage in what we call a CEQA, the California Environmental Quality Act review. And that review requires the consideration of alternatives. It requires examination of police and emergency response sources, water, sewer, traffic safety, all kinds of considerations that we would normally expect the county to be going through. But we have none of that with respect to 1000 North Kramer Place. So we don't have a consideration of alternatives. We don't have an analysis of environmental and community impacts. We've heard nothing from the county as to how they would assure that the homeless and the public would be safe on North Kramer Place. If you've been there, it's an industrial area. We've got some of those businesses with semi-trucks coming in and out all day long. There's been no description from the county as to how we're going to protect both the public and the homeless that would be there. These are some of the things we would normally expect a public agency to be looking at and vetting with the public before they engage in a project. Under a CEQA review, the county would be soliciting your written comments, your verbal comments, and would be required to respond to those comments. We see none of that in this instance. And then you would also look at mitigation factors. If you identified issues that would create a potential for significant environmental impact, we would look at mitigation measures and how to bring those impacts down. We've had no consideration of alternatives or mitigation factors. Next slide, please. All right.
I'm sorry, this is all propaganda, fear tactics. I'm sorry, I'm out of here. I can't stand here. People have to have common sense that if you don't have those shelters, they'll be pissing on your front yards. Let me show you that. Where are the homeless now? Sorry, I couldn't stand in there and hear all that bullshit anymore. We're up here at Embassy Suites, as you can see. I'm gonna go talk to Challenge. Have you guys ever televised that there's veterans out there? That there's well, I mean, you're the news, right? So why should I turn it off? I'm just asking you a question. Have you ever televised there's veterans, elderly? Okay, so you're just an intern or? Okay, well, the guys inside that we should ask this question to, right? I guess they were expecting a lot of protests today. They probably felt like there was going to be a little bit of confrontation outside. So we got cops here and cops over there, but I think they're just wasting their time at this time. So I just hope they didn't call him just because of my 80 little sign here that's telling the community what it is.
Sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.